Hello, Tehuti here. Today we're doing a box called Cicada. It's rated easy. Um, you can see my scans on the window. Uh, I pre-scanned just to save on time, and we'll just get right into it. So I just did. We'll just grab our command, grab the output. I love just doing ports first, so that I can actually just look at the ports and think through what tools I'm going to use. So we'll do that first. Um, So for 135 or 139, so we're going to do enum for Linux on this box. Um, or I put that in the wrong spot here. Enum for Linux will hit a few ports. It hits 139, 389, 445, 636. So there's no reason not to use enum for Linux, in my opinion. Um, but we'll just map this out. The tools that I plan to use here. And then also we have SMB map, SMB client, for Linux. You see for Linux all over the place. So around maybe like a dig up here. But I don't think we're gonna be using, or I know we're not gonna be using 53. I already did this box, of course. I'm not doing this live. And then you can see the version scan, default scripts, and version. And we just look through this. I don't see anything particularly interesting, like version numbers or anything. We have the name of the box. Yeah, it's not much else to go off of here. So we'll just go ahead and get that off the screen. We'll slow nano etc host, throw the IP in there, and grab, what is that, 129. Okay, so we don't really have jack. We don't have anything. We don't have like no usernames, no passwords. So we gotta like start pulling at strings or something here. So we'll go ahead and run our for Linux with attack A. Let me show you what that does actually. Yeah, it's an aggressive scan. So we'll do that. 129, 214. Okay, we'll just run that. And actually we'll do the next generation version of enum for Linux. I'm also gonna grab my output from up here. You want to be in the habit of doing that. So that's what we'll do. And we'll actually just code block that so it doesn't mess with any of my other output. So yeah, you can see it here, hitting 389, 636, 445, 139. Domain information. And pay attention here, it's trying to get null sessions, authenticating using null sessions. And it's doing quotes for the username and quotes for the password, right? So keep that in mind. Got some, Windows 2019. We'll use that, but we'll no take it. It's good to know. And here you see RPC. It's not able to enumerate. Same thing, groups. We didn't get any shares. Yeah, we didn't get anything. So basically, so we will grab our command. That's basically all we got from that. So, but why is that, right? Well, another default credential is kind of like anonymous access for FTP is guest, and then for the username, and then for the password, quote, quote, right? As you saw, enum for Linux is doing quote, quote by default for both the username and password. So I wonder if we try, let me just copy this here. And do guest, and then quote, quote, like that, if we'll get anything more. And in fact, we do. We have, other than the default shares, we have this this dev, and it's telling us permissions and no access. You have this HR share, so we got something we can enumerate at least. So we'll notate that along with our command. And we'll do dev no access read only. You can also do this with SMB client. I prefer to use a combination of SMB map and then using SMB client. But you can also, yeah, you can, I have that command ready, but 129, 214, 122. With the no pass argument, it'll do the same thing. You can see that there, right? We got the dev and the HR, except, right, it's not showing you permissions, right? So that's why I like using the SMB client. I mean, it's in the name, right? I use it as a client to actually authenticate and move around the share. Whereas SMB map, I'll use first for mapping purposes, right? I mean, it's in the name, right? So for both of those. So, so let's actually connect to that HR share, see what we get. So right now, all we have, the only credential we technically have is guest, quote, quote, right? So let's do, nope, that's wrong. It's that HR. We'll just hit enter. ls, and there's a file. Okay. Okay, I was trying to tab that out. Okay. What's going on here? Okay. Exit that. Cat notice. Jeez. Okay. All right, so we got a password. Let's read through that. Default. Okay, so I don't see any usernames or anything like that, right? So, so right now we have guest, quote, quote, and we have this password here, but we don't have any usernames, right? We don't see any version numbers in the scan. So what we'll do, we'll try to do something called RID brute, and basically brute forcing RIDs. So let's try that. I almost missed this right here. We have this support. Go back. Let me see. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let me go back and grab my commands. Yeah, so we did. This is the reason I spend so much time on note taking and not just flying through the box, right? Is because this is important for passing certain exams, right? Like OSCP or the CPTS, right? So I like to do all of this as well. Just do cat. We'll just leave that out. We'll leave the guest one out. And yeah, we have this support email as well. That might be useful. All right, so RD brute forcing. There's two ways to do this. There's an in-packet version, and I love NXC, so we're going to use NXC. I'll show you both, actually. And it is called in-packet lookup SID, and we'll use the bot's name. Guest, and that's our one credential. And we'll tell it no pass. Grab that while that's running. So you see brute forcing SIDS. Is using the, well, this is the domain SID. And so you got some groups here, groups, aliases. And so down here at the bottom, you have your users, right? You know, so that usually it will be 1,000 up, right? So we have John, Sarah, Michael, David, and Emily. This dev support is another group, right? You can see that these are users. So we'll just take that. But I want to show you the NXC as well. I love NetExec. Love NetExec. It's so powerful. I try to do as much as I can, so I'm not jumping around with tools all the time. As much as I can with NetExec. So we'll do RD group. That's what the module is called for NXC, and you'll see what that output looks like as well. Yeah, so you can see here, it basically gives you the exact same thing. Again, to me, this is cleaner, easier to remember versus, all of that. I love NXC. So let's just grab those usernames. So we got John Smolder. Yeah, Smolder. Sarah Antelia. Michael, Ransom, David, Aurelius, and Emily Oscars. And we'll actually build those into a users.txt. Okay, so we have a password from earlier, remember? So we have some users that we know exist on the system. And so we'll just do some password spraying. And again, you already know, we're going to be using NXC for password spraying. So we'll do NXC. Cicada. Wait, did I add this thing to my Etsy host? I think I did, right? Yeah, 214, 122. Yeah, okay. Okay. Cicada text. This is what we created, right? Yeah. P. Grab this crazy password over here. Put that in quotes. Make sure you put that in quotes because these are escape characters here. So otherwise it won't work. And then we'll give it a continue on success, because if you don't do that, the first time it succeeds, it'll just stop running. It'll stop password spraying. So obviously you want to check all the users, and we're checking SMB first, right? So let me just run through this command. netexec is running against SMB, and against our box, our target is using this users.txt that we created. With that crazy password we found earlier, and it's going to continue even if it gets a successful hit, right? And we'll just move that up. While that's running, we'll grab our command. And so we already have a hit with Michael. We'll grab that on SMB. But also, I wonder about, so we have a credential, right, other than guest, right? Guest and quote. So remember our ports that we have open, we have Evil Win RM, which is, something we can try to get access to the system with. We will try that off rip. I believe it's, Michael Bryson and P that. You could also check it with the NXC. I'm just going to try to authenticate, see what happens, right? Alright, so I don't think that's going to work. It would have worked by now if it was going to. But we do have a cred, so let's try to... Let's see if we can get more users or something. And we are going to do that with netexec again, with a module called TacTac users. So we'll run against LDAP again, right? So it's open, we'll run against LDAP for this. And so because we have a legit user that we know, a legit credential now. So we'll just run it back against LDAP, and we'll just do, if I could spell, grab our crazy password here that we know is legit. And we'll do TacTac users. And this is also going to enumerate like description fields and yeah. Let's see if we get anything useful here. So same users, nothing really new. Here's the guest that we use for that initial, pulling on the strings there. But look at this. Just in case I forget my password, is this. And this is for David. So now we have David credentials, right? So grab that. David. Okay, so we have new, so without even touching the box or actually accessing the box, we have a new credential. So we'll run that evil one command back with our new cred. So thing to take home here is that enumeration is iterative, right? It's you know, you run it back, right? Every time, the moment you get a new credential, you just run it back. Run all the enumeration back that you've done previously, if not more, and you try to. What's going on here? What is this about? Okay. But yeah, you always just it's cyclical, and that was the biggest takeaway from this box that I got, was that, you know, just, hey, you know, keep every time you get something new, run it back. So this also did not work. Did not work. We'll do that for the command up here as well. Okay, but we do still have a new credential. So like I was saying, we haven't enumerated shares with those new credentials. We only did it with guest, I believe it was. Yeah, we only did it with, yeah, guest. So let's try both, right? See if we get anything new. And put that in quotes so it doesn't mess anything up. Do Michael, right, send. Yeah, that's how you spell it. Remember, we had access, we had read to, we got a lot more read here. Those are default shares, and you could definitely go in there and enumerate those with the SMB client if you wanted to, if you so chose to. I will not be doing that, but normally you would do that. Okay. So remember, we already had read to HR. We still do not have read to dev, which is dev. I think dev is the way in. I know dev is the way in. So we'll do that second credential that we just got access to. David, what was his name? Aurelius? Yeah, Aurelius. There it is, bingo. All right, so we have read access to read access to dev now. Okay, so you can see it right here. We have read access to dev along with these other ones, but I don't think these default shares are gonna have anything in them. They don't look modified or anything, so we're gonna just go with dev. So like I said, I like to use the SMB client for that. You know what? Let me show you something else as well. NXC can also do this. I know I'm riding NXC a little bit here, but let's let me show you that as well. Cicada. Type P. Again, so for port 445, I like to use a combination of SMB and then SMB or SMB map, and then once I know the permissions, I'll use SMB client. But NXC is pretty solid as well. Again, there's a ton of features that this thing has. So we'll just, the module or plugin, whatever you want to call it, TAC shares. And there it is again, right? Gives you that read output. So we'll just, yeah, we'll just leave that alone there. So we will connect to dev. So we'll do this 10.129 dev using username. David Aurelius. Type P. I believe that's the command. Oh, not the command. Huh. Let me look at my SMB commands here real quick. We have the password, but do we want to try? Okay, definitely not. What is it? Did I not copy it right the first time or something? Or oh, tech you unknown option. What is clients? Okay, I had to go back to my notes. It was a capital U, not a lowercase u. Right, so I was like, I could have sworn that was, yeah, lowercase, freaking case sensitive. And so it looks like for the password, it just wants it, it'll prompt you for the password. So we'll just copy that and we'll leave the tag P there. And when it prompts, enter that, and then boom, you're in. Hopefully that I didn't mess y'all up too much there. So we'll just go ahead and grab that before we go any further. Okay, so now let's do L, and there's a backup script in here. So obviously we're just gonna grab that and get backup. It's the only thing in there. It's been retrieved, and we'll cat it now. All right, so now we have, remember Emily Oscars, huh? So she was one of those users. And we have her password as plain text. So let's do Emily.Oscars. Now again, we're gonna run it back with some evil win. It's the first thing I'm gonna try. Just so you can see a trend here is that we get a new credential, we check SMB. SMB seems to be the way here for this box, right? So we enumerate SMB or first, so we get the credential, and then we try evil win RM to get access to that remote management port, and then we do like SMB enumeration if that's not sufficient, right? Which it hasn't been sufficient so far, but Oh, you know what? That's weird output. Let's see how it wasn't working. See this, this whole thing is messed up now. So, right, so let me make sure you put it in quotes there. And we're in. We'll just see if there's anything here in documents. Nope. So when enumerating, there's a command. Now make sure you're not too close to the root directory because you'll get a ton of output for this command. I love the tree command. And so now you can see that we're in, right? We're in her home folder. So just a quick enumeration. So this works for Linux and Windows. Just on Windows, you have to tell it to show you files, which is what the /f is. But on Linux, you can actually just type tree and it'll show you everything, including files, right? So we'll do tree /f. There's the user.txt on the desktop, so you can grab that, cat it out, right? So you do user.txt. I'm assuming you all know that. So what do we do? Situational awareness, right? So we'll do user access. And now we'll do some situational awareness. Like who am I, where am I, stuff like that. Who am I, priv? Okay, so we got some privileges here that probably you do not want a regular user to have. So let's just do net local groups. I want to show you something. Or net local group. Okay. Net local group administrators. Okay. So this user is not part of the administrator group. Right, because the name's missing here. And yet we have these privileges here that we do not, or that she should not have, most likely. And so we'll just grab that. And we'll say SE backup privilege. Yeah, that's the way in. Looks interesting. But we'll continue. So who am I priv is exactly that, just getting privileges, right? The Linux equivalent of that would be a sudo tac l, right? Same thing, it shows you privileges and some other things. So we'll do hostname, right? ipconfig /all. So there's no other interfaces. Obviously, this is just a single box, right? So, but if there was another interface on like pointing at a internal network, this box could be your pivot box, right? You could turn this, you add some routes and turn this into a pivot box. We'll do netstat no, and then on Windows, you can pipe that to find string and then just do listening. So on Linux, it would be netstat antup. I'll show you that here in a sec. So you do netstat antup and give you basically the same output. And what we're looking here, the reason I piped it to the listening find string is we're trying to find any ports that are listening locally that we're not listening externally, right? So externally being like you scanned it with Nmap, right? Well, the ports can listen internally as well, right? And so we'll scroll up here and we have 88, 88, 135, 135, 139, or 389, 445, 464, 593, 3268, 3269, 5985. Now this is interesting. We have a 9389. So we'll note take this for now. And we'll just do looks interesting. Wow, holy hell. Right? And so we'll keep that, I guess, like effectively on the back burner. These, you'll see Hack the Box boxes always have these open. These are like, I don't know if they're like VM management or something like that. We could look them up, but these are always effectively open. So I know these ports aren't anything. You see externally that 53 is listening, 139 listening externally, right? And then locally again. So the quad 0 means it's listening on all interfaces, right? The 127 is local, right? So 53. So these are like the main things you want to see is like something listening only locally on a new port that is not listening externally. Right? Because if it's quad and it's listening on all interfaces, you'll see this externally, right? So you really want to see a 127, right? 127 and then like some other port. So actually I take this back. I'm tripping. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So 000 quad 0 would be listening on all interfaces. That means you can scan it from the outside and you'll see the ports, right? Whereas this is what you're looking for internally, okay? I said that wrong, I apologize. So these ports that are only listening on the on the loopback interface are important, right? Because they could be hosting a web server internally that you can't access from the internet. And those ports are usually escalation. Well, they're not always escalation vectors, but they're definitely something to look out for, right? So, yeah. All right, so I think we have enough situational awareness here. And we'll back up and we'll LS users, right? You see Emily there. But remember, we have that. We have this backup privilege. So what you can do with this is you can go to the root and you can make a directory. We'll call it temp, right? We'll cd into that. Nothing there, right? And what this allows you to do is it allows you to get, so normally the SAM database and the system database are locked down while a system is running, they're locked down, okay? However, if you have this privilege, right, you're able to create shadow copies of the SAM and the system while it's running, and you can write that using reg to any directory, right? So hopefully you see where we're going. We're gonna make shadow copies of the SAM and the system, and we're gonna write them to this temp. And then once we write them to the temp, we'll download them to our local system for cracking. So let's do that. Rec save HKLM SAM. We'll send it to C drive temp, and we'll name it SAM, right? And once we LS that, you'll see that SAM is there. Okay, and we'll run it back for system. We'll name it system. We'll grab system out of HKLM, local management. Okay, so that effectively created copies of the SAM system into that temp directory that we made. And now using EvilWin, it has a functionality called download, and it'll download it to your working directory wherever you started your EvilWin from, which was Cicada, right? So we'll just do download SAM. do download system. And let me go back and grab some commands, if we have any. We do, but these aren't like moving. So well, actually, we can start here, right? So we did major temp, cd temp, just so somebody could replicate this. If you were pen testing a company, and you give them the exact commands like this, they could replicate it. Their system administrators could try to replicate it after they do the fix, or you could do like a re-pen test or something. But it's taking a little while to download. Gonna code block this since everything's in italics right now. Something in here is causing italics, so code block it. Now get rid of that. This is just for my ADHD. We'll just code block that as well. You can see it's working on writing that out. It's just not done. Okay, now it's done. All right, so what we'll do, there's something called secrets dump. We'll just use that one. So I'll do okay, secrets dump.py. We'll just grab. I want to show you something here. So we'll do copy to our working directory, and then we'll do python secrets dump.py. Sam system local, right? That did not work. Why did that not work? Make sure you always grab the proper binary here. I stick to grabbing these examples. I guess this one is also an example, but this one was not working. So what I'll do is we'll grab this one. And we'll run that same command back. This time we actually get hashes, right? So we got administrator hash, we got the guest, and we already had that, obviously. It was like the first thing we had. And yeah, so we'll just grab this command. You know what, I'll just do like a screenshot. Or not. Let's just grab the command. I forgot that I had a code block. You would have to put it outside the code block, which I could do, but we'll get the messages across as well. Okay. And we'll do, so you can you can just pass the hash now, right? So I to administrator, and then capital H for the hash, and we'll grab, I believe it's this one, the NT hash. You can see it's got the format for you written here, right? So NT hash colon LM hash, and then the RID 500, and then UID, right? So we have new credentials. I'm going straight for the kill, and yes, that works. But again, you could enumerate more, I guess. You could try to enumerate SMB more, but this box doesn't go that far because this is an easy box. So what did I say? We'll do tree F, and there's your root flag. You go to desktop, you CD to desktop, cut out the root. Right? And so that is it for that box. Make sure my notes are good before we get out of here. And just grab that, copy that over, and root access. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. I enjoyed it pretty good. The main takeaways, every time you get a new piece of information, so in this case it was credentials, right? You run back your enumeration, right? Everything you've done, you run it back with the new set of credentials, right? So we had guest, so we had guest, quote, quote, then we had, Michael, Wrightson, then we had David, Aurelius, and so forth and so forth, right? So make sure you always do that. Oh, messing that up. Okay, yeah, well, that's it for that box. I'll try to get like maybe a schedule down to where I upload specific days or something like that. But yeah, hopefully you like that one. Tehuti out.